Philadelphia still built around Jalen Herz after paying him.
Yeah.
So it can be done.
Jalen Herz is better than Brock Purdy.
Well, people weren't always saying that. I mean, Jalen Herz entered the league, and early in his career, people thought he couldn't throw. Heck, it wasn't that long ago that a receiver on his own team was questioning how well he could throw the football.
No, it was correct, and that was after he had been to a Super Bowl, right? Like we're questioning Brock Purdy after being to a Super Bowl. But Jalen Herz has now, I think, proven those people incorrect by winning the Super Bowl and playing great in the Super Bowl and playing great in the playoff run. Like, I agree with you. Jalen Herz, Brock Purdy maybe was a very relevant question going into this past season. Okay. And then this season, Hertz was, I would say, good during the regular season and great during the playoffs, and Purdy had the worst year of his career.
But Purdy wasn't horrible. He wasn't terrible.
So
Wow. Okay. So, oh man, I love when they give me layups like this. This is all they talk about with Jalen Herz and the Philadelphia Eagles, and I got to talk about this because I had made a clip on this already, and then as I was kind of just doing things that I needed to do to, save the files and stuff like that, I just had this clip continue to play in the background, and they bring up Jalen Herz, and I'm just like, wait, what are they saying right now? First off, I got to say this right off the top. Prove those people wrong about how good Jalen Herz is. You mean the guys at the table right now? Maybe not Wilds. Wilds defended Jalen Herz, but, don't say those people. It's you people. You're one of them, Nick, right? So, like, every single, day leading up to each playoff game and going into especially the Super Bowl was Jalen Herz, Jalen Herz, Jalen Herz. Jalen Herz is the weakest link. Jalen Herz is the weakest link. Jalen Herz will be why they lose. Jalen Herz is not good enough. Jalen Herz is not good enough. Again and again and again. Even going into the Washington Commanders game, Jalen Herz, his knee's messed up. I don't think he's going to be able to play, well. And when you take away his mobility, what can he do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Nonsense. Ripping him, saying he played awful against the Packers, even though he actually played really well. So no. Let's make no mistake about it. And also, the wide receivers were not questioning Jalen Hurts' ability to throw the ball. They were frustrated. A.J. Brown was obviously frustrated because he wants more passing, but he wasn't questioning his ability to pass the ball, to throw the ball. Those are different conversations entirely. That's not even close to being the same. It's not even close to being the same. Okay? So, that is such nonsense. Okay? They were frustrated that there was, not more passing in the game, not more throws, not more shots down the field, etc., etc. That's not questioning Jalen Hurts' ability to throw the ball down. He's got a beautiful deep ball. We saw it in the Super Bowl. And any fan that wants to argue that Jalen Hurts is not better than Brock Purdy, dude, this is like the easiest one-to-one comparison as you ever could have. Because the 49ers roster was stacked with beasts of weapons. Christian McCaffrey, obviously, Debo, Kittle, et cetera, et cetera. That is what, so you can't say, the Eagles had a stacked roster or whatever. Saquon Barkley. What about Christian McCaffrey? Christian McCaffrey wasn't a massive part of that 49ers team, right? So it's just, Shanahan, you literally have an elite offensive coach and play caller. Are you going to tell me that you think that Shanahan, that Kellen Moore is a better offensive coordinator, or that Sirianni is better than Shanahan? Because I don't think there's a single 49ers fan that believes that. There's no way do they believe that. So you're going to twist yourself in pretzels here. It's the same thing that Dallas Cowboys fans do when they try to talk about Dak Prescott and how good their team is and how, they want to try to make fun of Jalen Hurts and the Eagles for winning. And it's just like, well, where's your excuse? What's your excuse? You told me that your team was stacked, that you were a top team in the NFL. Where's your excuse? And again, you can't say coaching because literally Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator. So, you can't say it. You actually told me Kellen Moore was a bad coordinator. You said, you guys just hired Kellen Moore. So, you can't do it. You twist yourself in a pretzel. And both quarterbacks played the Kansas City Chiefs. Both. And quite frankly, both defenses did really well. And Jalen Hurts balled out against the Kansas City Chiefs twice in two completely different Super Bowls. One of them Guess what? Saquon Barkley wasn't there, okay? So they didn't have their version of the Christian McCaffrey, and yet Jalen Hurts still balled out. Did he win? He did not. But he absolutely, positively balled out in both Super Bowls. It's not even up for debate. Literally broke records in both Super Bowls. Like, if you want to still debate how good Jalen Hurts is in those Super Bowls and say, oh, he got carried by the defense or he got carried by this or that, it's like, be my guest, man. Be my guest if you're a 49ers fan trying to argue that. And again, I really like Brock Purdy. I've defended Brock Purdy. I've defended the 49ers over the years. So, like, this is not me being anti-Brock Purdy, anti-49ers by any stretch of the imagination. But, like, dude, when you perform and when you win, like, you got to give it up. If you're a 49ers fan or a Brock Purdy fan, you can say, listen, I think Brock Purdy will prove to be the better quarterback over, a longer timeline. Like, that can be a fair take. Like, that can be a fair take. Again, I'm not saying that it's accurate, but that can be a fair take. But what you can't say is right now that Brock Purdy is better because Jalen Hurts stepped up. If Brock Purdy played as great as Jalen Hurts did in either of those Super Bowls, the 49ers win. The 49ers win. It's just that simple. Jalen Hurts elevated his game in the quarterback. Brock Purdy did not. Brock Purdy was not the reason they lost, but he was also not the reason why they were able to win. It's just that simple. And the 49ers could have won that Super Bowl. Christian McCaffrey doesn't fumble. Who knows, man? You don't get that muff punt. Who knows? And again, I don't feel like kind of keep, rehashing that, but, they didn't get by, Jalen Hurts didn't get behind Saquon Barkley in that Super Bowl. Saquon Barkley had like 25 carries for like 50 yards. Jalen Hurts is the one that picked apart that defense for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make no mistake about it. Did the Eagles defense step up too? Absolutely, for sure. But like, he's just, he's not allowed to then like work off of his defense at all. Like like the 49ers defense was trash, I guess, like over the years. Like, we know that's not the case. So I mean, you held the Kansas City Chiefs like in the low 20s. So like, that's what, you're supposed to have a high powered offense, you're supposed to be able to put up at least 28 points. So that's on you. But this is funny seeing the revisionist history now and about Jalen Hurts and the Eagles and saying, well, they were able to build around Jalen Hurts. Like, the way that contract was also structured also was in a way that really kept his cap hit low and flexible. What Jalen Hurts was able to offer to his team was also, it was more. Like Jalen Hurts was coming off of a massive Super Bowl performance, literally historical. Like, it just was. It was like one of the highest rated Super Bowl performances of last like 25 years or whatever, since 2000. So like he played out of his mind. You didn't leave that Super Bowl thinking that Jalen Hurts wasn't good enough. You just didn't. You did technically question, was Brock Purdy good enough? You didn't say Brock Purdy was the reason why they lost, but people still were kind of like, could have Brock Purdy played a little bit better? And the answer was yes. That is just the reality. And now, unfortunately for him, coming off of a rough year, which again, I've defended, it's just a weird situation to then compare him to Jalen Hurts, who now just became the Super Bowl MVP. And if the 49ers ended up winning that Super Bowl, Brock Purdy probably would have not gotten the Super Bowl MVP. I'm not sure who it would have been, but it doesn't feel like it would have been Brock Purdy. You'd have to kind of look a little bit deeper to see. But Jalen Hurts would have won the MVP on both Super Bowls. That much is very, very, very clear. But yeah, that was funny. That when I saw that, I was like, oh my dude, thank you so much. Like, thank you, first thing first, gods. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. You're gonna now start to praise Jalen Hurts. Like, they doubted Jalen Hurts every step of the way, and they just couldn't wait for the Eagles to lose so they could rip Jalen Hurts and say Jalen Hurts is not good enough. You know, and you had all those takes where it's like, well, if Dak Prescott was on, I mean, that's what we kept hearing. If Dak Prescott was on the Eagles, if Baker Mayfield was on the Eagles, they were naming all these quarterbacks. If they were on the Eagles, they'd win the Super Bowl. Someone even came out and said if Josh Allen was on in the Super Bowl, they'd be, you know, they'd be setting records. And it's like, oh, you mean like hanging 55 points in the NFC Championship game where they set the record for the most points scored? So I like, really? Where they dominated the Kansas City Chiefs at one point, going up 34-0. Like they would have won even more, hanging 95 points in the NFC Championship game and Super Bowl. Like what more do you want? And then again, Jalen Herz being the first player to rush for over like 70 yards, throw for over 250, a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, you know, and win the game. And he did it in the Super Bowl. It's just like what more do you want someone to do in that moment, especially with their team? They won the Super Bowl. They put up amazing numbers. Like, as a quarterback, they led the team in rushing, high completion percentage, high passer rate. Like, it's just like, scored touchdowns. It's like, what more can you ask of your quarterback? Like, there's literally nothing more you can ask. But yet, somehow people still believe, like, oh, if Dak was there, if Baker was there, if this guy was there. And it's like, okay, sure. Would other quarterbacks have won with the Philadelphia Eagles? I believe that. I for sure believe that. But this idea that it would have been, you know, easier or more spectacular with pretty much every other quarterback, you know, beyond Jalen Hurts is beyond me. Because I look at those other quarterbacks that people want to pretend that are better than Jalen Hurts, and I see them making some pretty big mistakes in key moments. You know, make no mistake about it, there was moments for the Philadelphia Eagles that game was hung in balance, or that the momentum could have changed, and Jalen Hurts got the job done. He brought it home. He beat the Kansas City Chiefs defense. There was moments for them to get to him, to pressure him, and he said, "Not today, son, not today." There was moments when he had to make a big throw to convert a first down. When it was 4th and 3 in the first drive, you realize that if he does not hit that throw, that then it's just give the ball right back to the Kansas City Chiefs in awesome field position. That is, even though there was a flag on that play, so it ended up being neutral. Not neutral because they would have caught it, so it actually hurt the Eagles. But like, make no mistake about it, like, because that could have been a play that then that the Kansas City Chiefs decline. You know, if it wasn't a good throw, and it just, if you can't understand that the first drive of the Super Bowl, the opening drive, and you throw just a absolutely gorgeous deep ball down the field on 4th and 3, where you would have given the Kansas City Chiefs the ball, like I think at the 40 or something. If you can't understand the insanity of that pressure, of that moment, and how massive of a throw that is, then you just don't know ball. Then you just don't know ball. And just even if you can't understand that, even the fact that it was still a flag, but the fact that throw still mattered so much, that is actually really the difference between the Eagles being dominant and going down, you know, 7-0. Like that's a real possibility. And then the Super Bowl completely changes. That's how these things work. That's how football works. Football is the ultimate domino sport, the ultimate butterfly effect, the ultimate team sport. So stop trying to look for the reasons why Jalen Hurts doesn't deserve credit, and look for the reasons why he does deserve credit. But right. Gosh. This was a fun one. Right, his own team question, can he throw the ball? Sure. Whatever. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jalen Hurts being better than Brock Purdy? Now that it's a universal claim. And the fact that I get, you know, that the Eagles were able to win even though they paid him. I don't even know how to like frame the questions for this one. But let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.